Hey man, you right?
Hello. Hey.
How you doing? Should be loading in now. Sorry, my. There we go. Cool. How are you doing? Are you
That's
all good?
good. Good.
Perfect.
So yeah, I'm at around 100 MMR yesterday, mainly
Mhm.
due to hitting the same Smurf 3 games.
Mhm.
But fucking Morphling Smurfs, right? Anyways, but otherwise, it's generally been going pretty well.
How have you
It's
how
in
have you
Wraith
found
King
the
we play.
how have you found the patch so far anyway, or the battle pass and things like that, just generally?
Oh, I mean, I hate the patch. It's like way too far fighting oriented still.
Yeah.
Um, but the battle pass, I think, is fine. People are complaining a lot about it, but ultimately, it's skins that offers zero in-game advantage. It's
Mhm.
all cut. This is like the least abusive possible monetization that any video game company could pursue. It's literally only.
True. I mean, I think there's like a lot of other games that have it a lot worse. Do you know what I mean? Where like literally you can buy to win and stuff. And I'm glad Dota is never like that. So that's good at least.
I mean, the closest it comes is like the in-game pulling timers, but ultimately, you can just fucking Google
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah. Or you could buy Dota Plus, for a cheap, for a cheap
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
$3 a month or whatever
Five
it
now.
is, five
Yeah.
ninety nine or whatever it is. Yeah. So this is because
Okay, so
so you got a few replays from
so
it, yeah, and you just want to do different things for different replay you're showing. This one was just for the lane specifically, right?
yeah, because after you'll see after the lane, the game's already over. But like the weird thing,
Yeah.
okay, so the thing that threw me with this lane is that it felt like the entire time my support was doing the correct thing, like
Mhm.
exactly what I would want him to do,
Yeah.
and we were still getting completely owned.
Mhm.
So uh, this is a Wraith King Jakiro against Quap Zeus lane,
Mhm.
and my initial thought was like, oh well, like I can actually like kind of be aggressive here. I'm going to skill stun level 1,
Mhm.
and I stun the Zeus at the rune, and we like throw Jakiro spells on the Zeus,
Mhm.
and then it becomes apparent that I still can't trade with them because I guess Queen of Pain's just really an OP hero.
Yeah.
Um, and at that point, they just start like throwing like lightning bolt and quap dagger on me
Mhm.
constantly, and I'm like shipping out tons of regen and then still dying.
Mhm.
And my support's trying to pull,
Mhm.
like I'm trying to like shove the lane out and then have my support pull, and then the Zeus pulls the hard camp in response, and I
Mhm.
can't walk up to contest their pull.
Mhm.
And yeah, I end up like level 4 at like 5
Yeah.
minutes. It's
So
like
you're in luck actually.
it's just really bad.
I played almost exactly the same game as you as Racing actually. Instead of the Quap, it was an offlane Rubik. So I mean, it's a little bit
Okay.
similar, but it was I think it was a Rubik
Yeah.
plus another. I think it was like Rubik Quap or something like that. So very similar. So just before we get in, obviously you're laning with Jakiro. So you have an understanding that it's most likely going to be Quap Zeus, or I mean, because Morphlin isn't going to offlane, right? And you're going to assume it's going to be Void Bot.
Yeah.
So you know it's
So,
Quap Zeus,
well,
most likely.
honestly, I thought it was going to be faceless off, but I
Okay.
thought it was like possible there would be Quap Zeus. Like
Mhm.
I built basically, I was like, okay, Quap and Zeus are going to probably try like harass me down slowly. I
Mhm.
obviously need to buy a stick level 1,
Yeah.
whether like it's void or not. Like if the
Mhm.
Zeus is there, I need a stick.
Yeah.
So my thought was these items. In retrospect, I maybe should have went salve level 1
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
instead of
say.
one of these
So,
guys.
like, it's a like, and I'm only gonna bring it back to the point I had when I played the same game. So, in effect, like, there's two ways this lane can go. One way this lane can go is you absolutely destroy them because you can kill them. The fact of the matter is, though, that sometimes that can be very risky because either it will work and you'll kill them and you'll dominate the lane, or you won't. And it's like one of these. It's one of those matchups where, like, if if you can get like
Yeah,
if you can get perhaps like the advantage in the first few waves, you will dominate the lane. But if you don't, it's the same with like a Necrophos matchup. So if you play against a Necrophos, like whoever is dominant in the lane at level 3 normally will go ahead and win the lane, because if Necrophos can walk up the lane, he will win it. But if he can't, and he feels threatened, he'll play passive. And it's the same here. And I had the same prospect of as kind of you, where I thought, oh, I feel like I can win this lane, so I'm going to spec stun, I'm going to go ahead and try and win it. In retrospect, I think the best thing you can do in lanes like this, where it's very aggressive, is just to try and get as much farm as you can and rotate the jungle. The only
Yeah,
other option is if you just run a tri lane. If you run a tri lane
yeah,
and then you just destroy them because there's nothing they can do about it. And obviously, there's not much control over running a tri lane because obviously you've got to rely on your teammates, kind of thing. But in this game, it would be decent because maybe Axe can back lane and just cut creeps while you have the sniper with you. Because if you have the tri lane up here, like Quap and Zeus can't walk up, otherwise they're just gonna die. Um,
yeah. The sniper was actually very communicative and like a
okay,
nice guy. I'm sure if I asked, that would have worked.
yeah. So
So
just keep
that's
that
a
in mind.
good point.
Just keep that in mind because in lanes like this where you will either win the lane. I know this sounds really stupid, but you'll either win the lane or lose it badly. And there's
Yeah,
two
I
ways.
know what you.
There's two ways about it. Either you go ahead and you commit resources to go ahead and win the lane, so you spec stun, you maybe get the third member in the tri lane, or you build to just get as much farm as you can and rotate into the jungle, because
Yeah,
just playing this lane a wrench like regularly, you will just get spammed out of lane and you will just get tick down before you eventually just die or start feeding, or you're spending so much gold on regen. So
yeah,
either, in my opinion, just seeing this right now, first off, I definitely would have a salve because I know like this lane is going to be very cancerous in the sense that it's going to be completely spammy. And secondly,
mm,
I'd think if I can't get the sniper or maybe involved, I'd be looking just to get both my passives. And it sounds strange, and the Chihiro will probably like
no,
kind of
I
flame
mean
you a
that's
little
what I
bit.
usually do. I usually
Um,
go 044, but
yeah,
this lane I thought like, oh, but the Zeus is so squishy.
exactly, and he is very squishy. But the problem is that if you have one go, that's bad. Perhaps you stun the Zeus and the Jihiro fire breaths the Queen of Pain, and there's a slight miscommunication or something.
Yeah,
They'll just turn it on you, and then they'll kill you, and then they'll punish you for going that greedy build. And so, like for me personally, like the way because I've been working like playing on my Smurf right now, and the easiest thing is that even if there's an opportunity to win the lane, I'm just playing passive. Because as a carry, like that's your job really is to get farm. Your job isn't
yeah,
to dominate the off lane, like or sorry, to dominate the safe lane. It's just to get farm. And the best way to secure my farm in the most stable way is to play passive and normally rotate to the jungle. Obviously, there's lanes and scenarios where you can't. Um, but that's how I view it, kind of thing. But we'll go through here. But yeah, definitely, I would. That's the kind of mentality I want to have in this lane. And it's annoying because you can win this lane and you can kill the Zeus and you can, because it's squishy. But at the same time, it's risky. It's a very risky lane to go either way. Um, but another thing as well that I'm kind of realizing as well is the kind of the initial bounty rune skirmishes. Like I've been watching so many pro games
well, they're
right now.
very favorable for
Yeah,
carries. Yeah, I've
yeah,
tried to just go under my tower a lot more when
yeah.
like
Because honestly,
drop boss.
I know bounty runes are so important, but they're not as important as the way we normally think about 'em. Like if you watch programs, even if like normally what will end up happening is they'll rotate a lot of their resources, but maybe in their support to the offlane to secure both the bounty runes. But the carry will just like sit under his tower waiting for the first wave to come. Because
Yeah,
even if you don't die, like if you like this trade here, like I said, you told me about, you stun the Zeus and you get really low. Like even if you survive, you don't have a salve, and it's really not worth the initial click of the bounty. Um, like here, you stun, like this is all good kind of thing. You do get the bounty, but now like you're half HP, like without salve, and it's
yeah,
like, is it really worth it? And in my opinion, it's not. Like if the support wants to do it, it's fine. It's a like maybe for a support it might be an okay thing to do, but this initial kind of trade on the bounty is just not worth it. The one exception is, and what I've been liking and wanting to do is, if I know that the enemy team is going to posture for this bounty rune, I try and sneak the one over here, so there's
right.
no
Yeah,
concentration, and you're still looking to get a bounty rune, which is the whole point of this engagement, right? Is to get a bounty rune. So if you can
yep,
get a bounty
yep,
rune without the engagement, it will just save you on regen. Because right now, like you're in such a bad position right now, because you
yeah.
can't contest the first wave because you just don't have the regen. If you had a salve,
And my
maybe.
Jakiro
Okay,
gives me the salve, thankfully. But
yeah,
yeah, I can't rely on like him
you
having
know,
this, or in
exactly,
this case having salve. Yeah,
but Yeah, and this lane is one of the most annoying to deal with as a carry. Zeus is almost like the Skyref mage, really. It's kind of the modern Skyref mage where he'll just span you out,
Yeah.
and you just need to have the regen to kind of deal with it. Like, you know, in scenarios like this, you're gonna die most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I know I live, and that's
yeah,
actually worse.
it's almost worse. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
It's much worse.
I mean, this just comes honestly back to not having a self, but at the same time, it's just kind of that mentality of trying to win the lane when you just it's going to be difficult. Obviously, Zeus pulls here. In some ways, this might be an okay thing for you because Quap's going to most likely go to the tower, which he does, so you get to farm here a little bit. And this is an interesting pull because normally, pulling is really important, but in this scenario here, like they don't.
So I don't think this pull is good for them because the wave was already pushing at them.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
so,
for
it
sure.
just ends up I don't get harassed. I get a hard camp. So
Exactly.
this is cool.
This is good for you. For sure, and also,
Yeah.
I mean, just viewing it from the other point of view as well. Like when the lane was here, even though it was near your tower, like they were putting so much pressure on you. Whereas now, when the waves are split, you're actually not feeling that much pressure for the most part. And because the waves are split, that should also be an indication of what Jakiro should be wanting to do. If he can split the waves, like if he pulls here, then the wave will be under tower, so it'll be a little bit easier for you. So that's definitely something to think about. But you're still going to get harassed.
Yeah, Jakiro went to stack and then pull.
Yeah.
Which he maybe could have pulled faster, but like.
Yeah, and this
So
is the problem, really.
In this position.
Because like when the lane's in this position, you can't walk up. Like you're half HP. If you walk up, you're just dead, kind of thing. So there's nothing you can do. And being in this position, like the lane's almost already over. Obviously that's very extreme, but in high level games that's what it's going to be like. Jakiro will pull here, but you've already missed one wave, and I've talked about the importance of the first few waves in this kind of scenario.
And so the problem is too that like Jakiro goes to pull, but like so does Zeus, and I cannot walk up and contest the Zeus, and the Jakiro can't pull either or contest it because he's pulling our creeps, right?
Yeah.
So then like we have a situation where both waves are dying to hard creeps, but like Quap is allowed to blink on my hard camp, and I can't walk.
You can't do that. I mean, in a scenario like this, if this support player was a little bit better, what he would do, he would pull it, but then wouldn't stay with the wave. He'd go and stop this pull from Zeus. Which is, I mean,
I prefer a single pull.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah. First of all, obviously, the single pull would be better because what you want is you want the lane catapulting between two different people. Because when the lane is static and like normal, the offlaner, in this case, the Quap and the Zeus, will win, right? You want the lane to be as chaotic, as random, as just kind of fling back and forth as possible. And him double stacking it is almost methodical. You want him to do single pulls and yada yada yada. But in this scenario here, if I was playing the sport, I'd pull here and then immediately try and stop this Zeus from pulling because what he's done here, he's stayed with the wave, try to get a bit of XP from the pull camp as well as deny the wave, which leaves you kind of doing what you're having to do, is just kind of sit on the tower. Obviously you kind of walk up here a little bit, but at the same time you want to make sure you get this creep pull. Understandable, you're probably going to die to a bolt, and you do. And this honestly is just kind of the mentality of like, is what's going to happen because you're playing in a very aggressive lane, and if you have the mentality of I'm going to get level 4, if you have like a glove of haste and 4 maxed out passives, you can jungle level 4. I know we joke about like how Wraith King you get those idiots who play position 4 and they just jungle Wraith King at level 1. Like the hero can jungle very early, and in this scenario it's not ideal, but it's like it's either you sit in this lane and you feed, or you go jungle, get some levels and gold, but also give a whole wave and lane to Jakiro to farm, which is actually quite useful. Or even maybe the sniper, like the sniper and the Jakiro could swap, because Jakiro or the sniper could defend the tower while you're farming the jungle. But right now, like you're in kind of a bad position because you've died once, but like it's almost like you've died more than once because of the way you've not been able to walk up to the wave. Like you're 6 CS compared to like the 12 on the X or whatever.
I mean, we can go next replay at this point. I get it. Sure. Like this is really an uncontestable lane, and like
it really is.
It's giga-brained to be like, oh, if I invest into the lane and buy a wand and buy a lot of regen, I can maybe. It's like, nah, you can't do shit here.
Because that's what it's like. And the thing is that like I said, like either you try and win it, but you need to have like the help from the sniper. Otherwise, you're gonna be in scenarios where you're just gonna be collateral damage every time you try and go on them. So it's just not worth it. And this is honestly one of the worst lanes to deal with as a carry. But in some ways, it's one of the nicest to play, because the laning stage is one of the worst because there's not much you can do. But if you get farm and you get levels and stuff, like Zeus is one of those heroes, and also Quap as well. That they need to have, like they need to get value out of their lane. But if they just farm a creep wave for no one to contest, like you'll come in, get a blink maybe, and just one shot these guys in the later game, and they don't offer too much. So it's one of those things that you just need to get past the initial laning stage. But yeah, it's a very annoying lane. But that's how the best way to think about it is. I'm just not going to contest it. Obviously, it looks like the other lanes went terribly as well. But yeah, just something to keep that in mind. If you get those kind of lanes, just don't be afraid to be a pussy, basically. Your hero is like, particularly in this patch, like carries are normally weaker than the offlaners, and so because of that, they have like a farming mechanism built into them, like Lunar, Wraith King, Troll. I mean, Troll is a bit different because he's actually got a good lane stage, but that kind of idea. Don't worry too much about it. Right, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah. So this next game, and I win this lane fairly hard, but I could have won it harder. And there are particularly things about basically calibrating. Sorry, my cat's.
Cat's going mental.
Yeah. Well, one cat is 2 and the other is 18, and the 2-year-old thinks she's playing, and the 18-year-old thinks she's getting attacked.
Nice.
So anyways, I won this lane, I won this game. I could have won the early lane harder, and I wanted to basically talk about how I approach this lane in terms of aggression on the Centaur.
Sure.
And the I don't know. Yeah, what do I have? I have a Lich here.
Oh yeah, so yeah, strong lane. Lich.
Yeah, I have Orb of Venom. I asked him to skill his Frost Shield level 1, but he took Blast. It didn't matter. We got kills anyways. I think Frost Shield would have been better in any case.
I mean, just quickly, like just the Frost Blast normally is better, but just because it has a really low cooldown, but
but I think when you have an Ursa where you're getting so much value out of the hitting, and like it's giving me more opportunities to use Earth Shock more often because the slow is longer, even though it's less of a slow on Frost Shield because it lasts 6 seconds, whereas the slow on Blast is how long? 4 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, normally it just like if your engagements, like you normally get 2 Frost Blasts off, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, go on, carry on.
Yeah, and like fighting a Centaur at the rune also with like shield versus Frost Blast. I feel like it's like a little more advantage. Maybe I'm totally out to lunch.
I mean, normally like just like watching it from like liches or like, even for engagements, they always because the shield got nerfed at early levels, but the Frost Blast didn't. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, yeah.
Anyway, so I just want to watch basically the first couple minutes where and how and why I am aggressive and see if that is correct and accurate. So I win this lane, but I remember the first few levels being weird, and I don't think I played them correctly.
Sure. So I really like Ursa this patch, but I think he's one of the strongest carries actually. There's this kind of new people can go like this Battle Fury build and stuff, and it absolutely owns.
I did that this game. I've been having a lot of success with the Battle Fury Ursa.
It feels really nice.
Like just have no mana problems now. Fantastic.
Exactly. That's like one of these, and he's like the two biggest thing about Ursa was his mana issues, but also his farming speed, and Battle Fury does both, and you can still fight with the Battle Fury as well. It's fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe this is overthinking, but like, do you always buy the extra branch when you go for an Orb of Venom?
Definitely.
Start?
Yeah, because you have the gold, and you should always use it. I'm always a big believer in just using all your gold. The one thing I like, to be honest, right now this is a very split mind on. I've watched quite a few carry players like Matumba Man, Miracle, and like in this scenario they do the same sometimes on anti-mage as well. Like because sometimes like Ursa, like if you have a strong early game, like you can really kind of dominate. And sometimes they don't buy the Quelling Blades. Like they go maybe double set of tangos. Not Windlace, but they get another set of regions. So maybe they get the salve or 2 set of tangos, and then obviously bring the Quelling Blade later. But and then some of them like don't start with the Orb of Venom, but I like starting with the Orb of Venom because it helps in these bounty rune engagements and the Quelling Blade. But I'm just saying it is very different. And probably in this lane though, I probably actually would have kept the exactly same items. The reason why is that sometimes you don't need the Quelling Blade for the first wave, and you will need like a salve. So if you're going to engage them like level 1, you need the salve to just complete back to full HP. But in this engagement, you're playing against Earthshaker and Centaur. Earthshaker is not really going to threaten you at all as a support, so you don't really
Yep.
you shouldn't be worried. And obviously having the Quelling Blade is nice to be able to CS against the Centaur, who has like almost double your base damage. So these items are fine.
Yeah.
I think level 1 Earthshock
Yeah, I
is...
have another set of tangos queued up.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely need more of the regen than you do have. I think the Earthshock is fine level 1 as well. Your Fury Slice level 1 is pretty weak, actually, and it's nice to threaten, so this is all good. Understandable, you're going to get stunned. In 1. He has boots, so... and this is just kind of where the salve could come in handy, kind of thing. Looks like this Lich is gonna get, and that's just kind of the factor of the kind of the boots and the double stun. But and I mean, a small thing as well is, I mean, it's not necessarily your fault, but when it comes to any kind of engagements, it's just making sure you're both together hitting the same target as much as possible. Obviously, in this case, you can't because obviously Centaur is kind of, you committed on the Earthshaker, but he had boots, you couldn't kill him. So I mean,
which I could have known.
Yeah. I mean, I think even man and perhaps onto the Centaur is difficult because he has such high strength game. But yeah, this is just something to think about, like with the items, because like right now you'd like to have a cell, but luckily, I mean, they can't really threaten you if you're under your tower, even if you're all kind of low. But and obviously the Quelling Blade will help you in the first wave. But just something to think about. I've seen carry players switch up and change it up, but this is good harass. He doesn't have mana for stun. This is all good, and you bought your set and second tangos here now, so this is all good. So
yeah, and then my Lich gave me a mango, which is good as well.
Yeah, this is all fine. So let's just go back actually for that second wave quickly. So the first wave, obviously your Lich is dead, so this is all good. You're pulling creeps under the tower. I just want to kind of go through here. You CS as best as you can. I've shocked the thing as well. Good pressure, because now you have creep advantage.
Yeah, their Earthshaker is blocking the
pull camp.
Which I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what it
shouldn't have gone for that creep, I think.
No,
is the reason he took all that damage, right?
For sure, yeah. He's trying to deny a creep you can't get. So you get fed a mango here, which is fine. So right now, if your Lich is on top of you, you go for this kill on the Centaur because you're going for the CS, and this is just having kind of awareness of like where your support is, and it's a very small thing, but because he's like by the little fountain over here, if he's like by the trees next to you, the Centaur is dead. But because Lich isn't with you, I think this go actually is a little bad, because what ends up happening is you draw the range creep aggro, you miss a CS here, and because Earthshaker's block the pull here, like the lane equilibrium is actually really important to kind of keep in control. Not only that, but like Centaur's already low, and I haven't seen this, but I'm assuming he's already ferrying himself a salve, which he is. So like all this damage is actually wasted. So, and you weren't level 2 as well. So right now, but now you've already used your Earthshock, like you don't threaten him because he knows he doesn't have mana. So it's really, these is really small things here. I like the fact that you are looking to get aggressive, because on a hero like Ursa and you're laning with a Lich, this is the lane to be aggressive with. It's just trying to figure out exactly when. So one of the strongest time is to go and kill someone is either if they're out of position, or if you have that level advantage. I mean, in this case, Centaur was a little bit out of position, but so was your Lich. So it's kind of like it almost negates itself. So I mean, if you go back onto that go you went on the Centaur, if you're level 2 there, he dies. But now, obviously, he can sit back here. The lane's pushing. He has a salve coming to him, and you've kind of missed that initial opportunity onto going on him. And you should definitely be thinking, like, I'm not going to go on this Earthshaker until I get boots, because it's just a waste of my time, really. So you just want to be CSing as best as you can. Which you're doing good. Obviously, you're 5-0, and this is good. If he wants to hit you, you're more than likely, able to trade and stuff. But it's just like, I mean, it helped that the Lich kind of fed you a mango, but particularly in the early game before you have your Battle Fury and stuff, like your lane management and mana management is really important on your Ursa. So that's just an important thing to trade, because right now you've kind of committed a lot of resources and you're kind of even with the Centaur, because the Centaur is going to get like all the CS and now you're both equal on HP and stuff. So all the good you did is kind of negated because of that small misstep, really. And it's definitely a small one, but it does make a difference, So this is all good. Eventually you will need your support to pull. We know Earthshaker's blocking the pull, so you'll need to kind of hopefully this Lich will be able to try and pull on the hard camp here. A small thing
should have
is,
put this
yeah,
on the
for
hard
sure,
camp,
for
so
sure. And you can do that like before the bounty runes kind of thing, and it's definitely something
I can do that every game.
Yeah,
it's like no reason I have.
Exactly. Just it's good practice as well. Like, so obviously for Radiant, it's this camp here, and then on Dire, it's the little pool, little tree just below the tower.
Yeah.
You can't see my cuts, but you know the one I'm talking about, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just good practice to do every single game, because once you do it, you don't need to do it anywhere else, really. This is all good. Like securing range creep, getting a bit of harass. So you're preferring yourself boots. I would have also liked to Yeah, okay, it's fine. You instantly go back for the mango. So that's what I was gonna say. Boots and mango, all good. I think another thing to do as well, you're building into treads, but in a lane where you're against double melee, movement speed really is king. So I'd even be looking to buy a windlace before treads, because if you have the movement speed advantage on this Centaur, you can kind of destroy him, really.
That's fair.
So this is all good. So you go double Earth Shock here. Now you probably watched the Matuma main game for Secret, where he does this as well. The one difference,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people maxing Earthshock.
Yeah, the one difference though is that a lot of the Ursas who are double Earth Shocking is when they're laning with a Kotl, and that's the reason they do it. If not, you should really focus on getting, particularly Fury Strikes level 2, because it's double the damage.
Right.
If you're level 5 and you want to put another point Earth Shock, fair enough, that's fine. But level 3, you have to go Fury Strike unless you're with a Kotl. Obviously, with Kotl, you can just double Earth Shock, and that's fine, and you have the mana. But in this case, you don't. But it's just like not from 9 to 18, obviously double the damage. And it's just better.
I get your point.
I mean, the second point Earth Shock is really good because it more than doubles the slow. But
it's only 50 more damage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's twice as much.
Damage. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Level 5 is a bit different. Level 5, you can maybe go for a double point in Earth Shock. I mean, it might not make a difference, but it's just something to keep in mind that the second point of Fury Shock is really, really important as an Ursa. So yeah, go for the range. Obviously, you can secure this as well. Try and pull this. This is all good. This is probably the perfect scenario actually, because now this is gonna die.
Centaur TP'd to his tower instead of to base instead of his tower.
Yeah, he was low HP, I think, so he kind of always needs to do it. I mean, this Shaker's kind of been a bit all over the place, so it hasn't been able to help you. But I mean, you're an Ursa as well, though, so it's not like Centaur is in a favourable matchup. This is all good though. You're positioning good as well behind the creep wave. Obviously, if he wants to trade you, and this is where the 2 points and Fury Swipes is really nice, right? So he's trading with you, and like, if you had an extra point of Fury Swipes, like, you'd probably be able to win this trade. But I mean, he's level 4 as well, obviously. But I mean, you're gonna die. But it's just something to think about. I mean, in that case, it probably wouldn't even be good for you to man up. But he just kind of surprised you with 13 retaliate stacks and stuff. I mean, I didn't even check it myself, so yeah. But that's all it is. Obviously, Lich wasn't with you as well, and that goes back to having an understanding of where your partner is as well. But you thought you were strong, you were wrong. That's just that's a simple fix, really, for the most part.
From here, I think it goes pretty well. We can go to the next replay.
Sure.
Yeah, because the rest of this, I think it goes fine.
Cool.
Lich and I coordinate a little better after that. I said to him after I died, I was like, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were walking back to the lane, not back to base. My bad."
Sure. But
And
yeah,
then,
just for sure, I think Windlace in this lane would be really nice as well. Just because you can chase them, but that's fine. We'll go on to next because I know there's quite a few replays you want to look at, but that's all good.
yeah. So this next one, we can go through the lane on like 4 times speed
Sure.
because the lane is I stop it. It's really not important. Where the trouble starts is mid-game fighting. Also, maybe my item build is insane here. In terms of, so I choose to go for Radiance on Lifestealer this game because they picked a Naga after me, and like the other thing about like if you look at their draft, when it appears on your screen, it takes a second. Okay, so they have a Tide. They have a Pugna, they have a Disruptor, and then they picked Necro, right? So they picked Naga same time as me, and they picked Pugna or Necro after. So my thought was basically like, oh, if I go Radiance on Lifestealer here, I can actually continue to deal damage in their like magic immune or magic forms, and their decrep. And like I can purge decrep. Obviously, I can't purge it from other people until I get like a nullifier or something, but that's a long ways away. So I considered going SNY, but I felt like I needed the Basher because basically my Slardar and my Spirit Breaker were not going on the correct targets. They were like continuously jumping Tide Hunter and Naga Siren instead of jumping Disruptor before he ulted or getting the Pugna so that we can actually kill anyone else, or disabling Necro and killing him, bursting him so that he can't scythe. So I thought like, okay, I think I need Basher here. Yeah.
I mean, I think the Radiance is fine because of that like magic damage kind of thing. I mean, if you look at your team as well, you are all physical damage. So in games like this, I definitely think Radiance is good. I mean, I would even look if you're playing against a Naga as well to go Mjolnir, because like any way you can kind of diversify your damage is really useful. So having the Chain Lightning would be nice as well because all your team is all physical damage, so they can just build all armor items and be fine. Plus they have the decrep, which is is fine as well. And I mean, obviously we'll look at the game, and I'll just obviously I'm looking at now. In a game, I mean, obviously it comes down to feel and what you're thinking as well. But in that kind of game, because you have like a Slardar, you have a Spirit Breaker as well. I wouldn't necessarily, me personally, think I need the bash up. But obviously, I haven't looked at the game, and also you're the one playing it as well. But I definitely, I mean, it depends. It can be a bit greedy to go Radiance plus Mjolnir as well, but I think if there was a game to do it, this one would be doing it because you're playing against a Naga plus Pugna and Necro, and all your team is all physical.
I feel like Mjolnir is like a third item though. Like, don't I need like SNY or Halberd or BKB or something to tank before I go Mjolnir right after Radiant?
So items like S and Y, well, pretty just S and Y in general, like those items are, or that item is more of a, how to put it, it's kind of like a luxury item in the sense that it doesn't change the way you play, and that makes sense. So if you're feeling that you need an item that, like, if you're like, oh, I need an item to do X, Y, Z, then S and Y isn't that item because it's like a luxury. It's like I can do exactly what I'm doing, but with the S and Y, I just do it better. If you're like, oh, I need an S and Y, like because I'm lacking something, then it's like a bad pick because I need something. Like the life series of a bad pick, or there is a better item in general. Obviously.
I mean, SNY just feels so valuable because of the insane stats
for sure,
in terms of like lifesteal amp, and
I think SNY is a great item. I'm just saying that.
Like games where it's like I need SNY because I need an item that both makes me tankier and gives me food. Move speed, has an easy build up, and is an early game item for like some farming and kill potential. Like, isn't that what it is? No. Yet that like it doesn't have an active like Manta or BKB that saves you from anything.
I mean, obviously, just thinking it of like if you feel like I need an SNY to do what I'm doing, then in some ways you might be like, I need to be playing team fights differently. Like, so obviously in this scenario, like with your rage, you're invulnerable kind of thing. You'd agree. But when without it, then you're really threatened. And even in some games, you could be like it seems very strange, but you can go BKB on Lifestealer. In some ways, it's.
I was thinking. I should have just gone BKB.
It can be really because you can just go Rage, BKB, and then Rage again, and that's the team fight over. But you're magically the whole team fight. If you're I haven't seen
Um,
obviously these team fights and stuff, but just thinking it like if you're feeling like I need SMY is really good and it is really good on lifesteal because it gives you like everything you'd want on a lifesteal and it makes you better. But if you're feeling like I can't walk up in team fights without just dying, BKB could be like that.
yeah.
Because you know if you win the team fights, you're gonna win. I know that sounds stupid because most games is if you win the team, you're gonna win a game. But in this particular game, like you have a TA and you have Slardar, so every team fight is gonna be either a free Roshan or a free tower or a free Rex because he's going to be going Deso and be able to shred through buildings.
Yeah.
So it's the team fights that I'll really, really keep. Obviously.
You
so,
can like skip through this lane and go like 4 times speed. There's
yeah.
like nothing notable in this lane. I think I just beat a Tide Hunter with a lifesteal.
I mean, obviously, you went open wounds to save your Witch Doctor and a rune, and this just goes back to obviously, ideally, you want feast, right? But you're trying to contest runes when you perhaps don't need to.
So my initial thought was that Feast and Maledict is a kill on any hero in the game, but then they brought their mid to the fucking rune as well. Like, see right there is Feast Maledict, right?
For sure. Obviously, I mean, yeah. For sure. It's just like sometimes, like, don't overthink bounty runes. Sometimes just give it up. Like, doesn't need to. But that's this is fine. You kind of looks like you're hitting killing people. You bought more tangos.